Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, pick your seat. Your hosts, Pertek and Chibi Marie, are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today's episode on the 19th of November, 2021 is number 104. Vision of the Future, because we have our guest, Hero Vision. How are you today, sir?
Fantastic. How are you?
Wonderful. It's been a good day. Got some stuff done. I mean, outside of the live stream, of course, because had to watch that.
Always glad when that can happen.
Yeah, true story. And in case you folks don't notice, we have his name is Z. Oh my goodness, I'm going to fix that while he introduces himself. But first off, as you can see, there's a sick chibi over there. Yeah, she's not feeling so well. Definitely not in the, I want to put my face on the big screen for people. So she's going to hang out and chat and say hi to folks. But whilst I fix your name and make you not Z, could you tell some people a little bit about yourself? What brought you into Ashes? And what's the biggest... Yeah, ZV2. Exactly. And what your biggest attraction to Ashes is, if you can name one.
Okay. I can name many. Okay, so first off, I found out about Ashes of Creation through the Kickstarter. So I did kickstart the game. Can't remember what my Kickstarter level was. It wasn't too high. It was probably about $150-ish, right around there, whatever that one is. And I just started looking into it. I really liked Steven's vision of it. I liked that it seemed so like the ideas of it seemed so fleshed out. Like he definitely had a vision of, this is a world I want to make. And he was very confident in his delivery. So it just kind of gave me that, I really want to play this game. I really want to be part of this. I want to be part of this world, And so the more and more I got into it, just the more and more I started loving it more and more. I guess you could say my favorite, I have a lot of favorites in this game, to be honest with you. I will say probably my most favorite idea is just the idea of exploration, complete and total, full, deep exploration of the game in
this guy gets it.
Every system. That's what I'm looking for. I want to get into the nucleus of it and just really lose myself in it. That's kind of where I'm at.
Beautiful. That's one of my big things too. And we actually have a topic coming up here shortly, kind of talking about that. But you, by the way, are no longer Z. You are now actually Hero Vision. How's your new identity feel?
That feels fantastic. I was wondering what happened with me.
Yeah. But yeah, we jumped in the Kickstarter too, and just been loving it ever since. To be honest, we loved everything about it. Specifically, just like you were saying, the exploration, the nodes, the things that just. They change based on what people do rather than what people tell it to do.
Yeah.
So more of a behavioral rather than a attitudinal. So I know currently you're not doing much for Ashes. I know you had mentioned it was somewhat of a purposeful choice. You wanted to see something about what happens while you step away. Yes.
Sorry about that. I just had to say something to my girlfriend real quick. I haven't been following Ashes of Creation too closely recently because after the alpha, which I did play in, I ponied up the extra cash, the difference between my Kickstarter level and the, was it Braver Worlds level that gave me access? I paid that so I could gain access anytime that they do have a playable alpha, etc. So I really enjoyed my feeling about a year ago when I wasn't paying too much attention to Ashes of Creation because of the whole, the debacle with, the whole thing that they were doing with the I forgot the name of it, but it was kind of more of a Fortnite type of a deal where I really lost interest. Yes, thank you. I really, really lost interest for a while, but they really brought me back. And I actually had a point where I got really negative, and so I took a step back. And when I came back, it was just, there was all this new information, a flood of information, and just the art that brought me back, and just seeing the gameplay of when they did the dragon battle, and just all that stuff just really, really just got me super, super excited. And I just told myself that I wasn't going to overly expose myself to the game, because I really enjoy being surprised. I definitely enjoy that. I don't want to go into a world knowing everything about it. I want to find secrets. I want to discover things that nobody else knows about, So I'm trying not to overexpose myself, but being a huge MMORPG fanboy, I'm always down to talk about any MMO, especially this one. So yeah.
Yeah, I know that's kind of how we bumped into you anyway, is Zillan. We had Zillan on after seeing a video or two of his, and hung out with him. And then right after that, it was like a week or two after that, saw that you guys had a little podcast going. So swung in, said hi, and we've had you on the list, and we should reach out to this guy, and just finally got around to it.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
And it happened to be when you're taking a break from the doing Ashes stuff, but
yeah, I know.
Everyone needs it. We took a little bit of a break there too. We started going like every other week, and talked about just doing monthly, but we couldn't step away that long. But
yeah.
So you said you haven't really been paying much attention lately, right?
No, I haven't been paying much attention to what's been going on lately with Ashes. However, being an avid MMO player, I feel like I have a very good working knowledge and experience of and vision of what makes an MMO great. So there's probably nothing that you couldn't tell me about the game that I wouldn't already have an opinion or a thought on, good or bad. So I'm anything I was ever to hear and somebody said, what do you think? I would definitely be able to talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know in the prep getting ready for today, I had to rein you in and say, hold the horses, because you had some good points that you were talking about, and I wanted to wait until we got onto screen before I really responded. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I know you had some concerns about it, and I'm curious to see what some of the viewers think as well, about it being potentially unstreamable.
That's one thing that scares me. I'll be honest with you. I love the idea and the vision of Ashes of Creation. It just excites me so much. I have not played an MMO that has made me so feel so positive about the future of a game. But however, like I said, there's a lot of people that are very, very, very interested in the player versus player. It's a huge focal point of the game. However, I worry that not having consensual player versus player is going to make the game unstreamable, because after all, why would you be able to put out good content for your streams? Like, we're going to go into this, deep dungeon that just, came about when we leveled up the node. And how are we going to, we're going to go in there, we're going to go deep in there, our whole entire guild. And I could just imagine a rival guild literally watching you and waiting until you get the boss down to 10%, killing you all, snatching the kill in your loot and buggering off. I could imagine that being a thing in this game. And I mean, that's fine the first few times, but when you are consistently as a content creator trying to accomplish objectives and somebody's already literally behind a bush waiting for you, how do you progress? So that's something I've always been interested in or curious about. So I'd love to talk about that with people, but it's really hard to broach the subject, because once you start talking about it, what I've experienced is people have a tendency of just shutting it down and trying to act like there's nothing to see here, rather than having an open dialogue about it. and throwing things back and forth, and because I want nothing more than the success of this game, long-term success of this game. But I don't know any other MMORPG that is heavily player versus player, where you're literally giving away all your locations, that you're not able to freely move between servers, like something like BDO, and hide what server you're on. That is very highly streamable. I just don't know one. So
yeah, I think
that's my worry.
Phelan actually has a good, I guess, retort for that, response rather, saying that EVE Online is non-consensual PvP in areas, and yet streaming is capable because you can put an artificial delay of even up to a half an hour. Yeah. Now, the only negative side of that is if there are people who really like to be engaging with their viewers. Like on here, we like to try to address every comment, or at least most comments that people make. If we were super duper famous and we had thousands of people watching, that might be impossible. But right now we can, and so we do. And that would make that part of it kind of not fun for us, and probably not fun for viewers, being able to actually interact instantly and do stuff like, hey, what do you guys want to see? Where should we go? What should we do? And yeah, you got a point there. If you're trying to take down, a world boss or something like that, or just you stumble across something that's like a massive discovery, and then suddenly you're being swamped by people that saw you discover it live. Like you don't even have time to fully explore it before people start logging in to check it out.
Yeah, Faye really does make a good point. That's true. That you can put those, artificial delays on your stream. However, people do understand that, when you say, okay, this is what we're going to be doing today, they know that it's going to take you some time to get to where you want to be. And a lot of times it's going to be more than a half an hour. And having that delay on your stream takes away from your engagement with your viewers. So when something amazing is happening, you're not going to get your viewers' interaction and opinion on it for like 30 minutes. And that's kind of one of those things that's going to really hurt your stream overall. But I know that you said EVE Online has non-consensual PvP areas. I don't know much about EVE Online, so you're going to have to forgive me on that. But to my knowledge, and please clarify if I'm wrong, I think the only places that are consensual or that you can't PvP in are towns, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, pretty much anywhere you go in the world, you can be killed. It's kill or be killed. I mean, to my knowledge, so. Yeah,
and freeholds apparently from the Q&A today on the live stream. Because somebody had actually asked a question asking if, guilds and party members can freely PvP on a freehold. They called it the zone of influence, but I think they just basically meant the freehold. And, Steven's response to that was, no, we want it to be basically a safe zone. You can get to your freehold and you don't have to worry about, PvP or anything. So that's at least a good thing.
Yeah. My thoughts on it, I don't want to make the whole, I'm sure you don't want to make the whole show about this, but, I've never been one of those people that likes to just complain about something without having a thought about how to make it better. And so, my thoughts on this were to not have PvE servers, because that just would never work. The game is structured in a way for conflict. Things like, your node wars, your castle sieges, your battlegrounds, your whatever things like that, your caravan system. Those are all about conflict and fun, meaningful conflict. And that something like that could be and should be on every single server. The only thing that I take issue when it comes to that is the non-consensual open world player versus player. I think that there should be some servers where that's not, or that's kind of, left to their decision whether they want to flag up for something like that. And you can do things like give incentives to be flagged up, whether it's more experience or, things like that. Other games have done things like that in the past to give people a reason to want to flag up. but it also will allow a haven for people who stream the game and make content for the game, who have stuck by the game, to be able to continue that content long term. So there's something kind of I've worried about it. And last thing I want to say about that is I did hear somebody say in the past, like, well, you know, if you do that, the prices of items will go down to nothing in the auction house and destroy the economy. But that's not really true, because it's not like when you drop items, they go and disappear into the ether. You know, when you get killed, if you drop an item, the person who killed you picks it back up and puts it in their pocket, and it stays in the community. Whether it's in your pocket or their pocket, it's still there. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it. And I mean, I'd always love to hear people's opinions on it, but, you know, I don't think something like that would take away from it.
Yeah, I mean, there's also different effects on the economy with stuff like that, though, too, because they could totally take all of your resources and then just start crafting other stuff. And, you know, if they're taking all of your things and making things that you wouldn't, then it's inflating a different area and deflating the one that you provide to. Which, honestly, if nothing else, makes the next things you make worth more money, I suppose. But either way, like, your stuff's going up on auction. It's not like it goes away, like you said. But, yeah, like Faye said also that, you know, you can set the different length of time for the delay.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing and could totally help out, but I do believe it's going to end up depending upon, like, the content you're doing. Like, if you're doing something like a difficult dungeon or raid, yeah, you could totally put on a half an hour delay and be fine, because you're not going to be able to interact with the audience as much. But
that's true. That is actually true. Yeah.
Or at least if you're, you know, playing correctly and you're pushing progression. But yeah, other stuff where you're going to be out crafting and just doing silly stuff. I mean, you're going to want to just chit chat with everyone. I feel anyway. That's just me. I should say that is me. I know it's more than just me.
That's what makes a stream fun is, I mean, at least for some, going on there and asking questions and seeing the streamer's reaction to what you say. And, you know, you have your streamer and you have your viewers, and your energy feeds off of each other. There's nothing worse than being streamer and streaming with, or uncomfortable is a better way to put it, when you're streaming to just a few people and nobody's talking. It's like crickets in your channel. It does make things really hard. So the more activity that you can have going is just going to make for a better product for you, and honestly for the game as a whole, because you're showing this game off when you stream. You want for somebody to stream to be engaging as a game developer, I would think, because that means that everybody wins. So yeah, exactly. And let's see, there was something. Yeah, Carthos said, I don't think it's inaccurate to say the majority of players of MMOs don't like getting ganked. Don't have numbers to support this, but more of a consensus from years of playing. I would agree. I don't like getting ganked. Like, it's not something I enjoy. Like, I don't log in and say, you know what I want? I hope I get jumped at least 5 times today. Mm-hmm. But by the same token, the threat of it possibly happening makes things a little bit more exciting when you're out and about and doing stuff. When you return successfully not being clobbered, it feels like that much more of a victory, though. It's funny how you say that as Steven's getting pie in the face. In the back, you're talking about being clobbered. You couldn't time it better than that.
The timing is amazing.
Yeah. And it's still going.
But yeah, PvP is a very important aspect even for that alone. But if you think about it, in a game that's going to be mostly open world with, what do you say, like 10 to 20% maybe that's going to be some variety of instanced or locked out content.
Yeah.
For like story purposes, then that means even if you're just PvE out and about doing stuff, then, you know, stream sniping is still going to be a thing, because, hey, let's just watch this person while they're beating down the whatever and swoop in and take the rewards of getting to the new place. We want to progress, totally, but we don't want to beat the first 3 bosses, so we'll let them take out the first 3 because we're bored of those.
Yeah. I did play... oh, I'm sorry. There's a little delay. I did play Black Desert Online, and that actually would happen there, where you would go into an area and they wouldn't want you killing their enemies. So the way they would politely ask you to leave would be to kill you one time. And normally you would get the message if you weren't powerful enough to put up a fight, and you would, swap servers. And then hopefully there would be no one there and you continue. You're grinding, but you'll know if somebody's there because they will politely ask you to leave in the same exact way. And sometimes you can't find somewhere to grind. But the thing with this game is there's no way to run.
Continue, I just got to say I love how you basically phrased it as they will politely kill you one time.
Exactly. Because that's their way to do it. I mean, they could gank you over and over again, which will happen if you don't leave. But I mean, that's a good way to ask, right? I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a PvP game. I never begrudge somebody PvPing in a PvP game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing. I'm curious to see how it goes too. But I just think any kind of open world game, even if it's just PvE, is going to be similarly difficult for streaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. But I do like I said, when the exploration thing is really big to me. Really excited about that. And I'm also really, really interested in the development of the world. I'm actually interested in getting into the game on day one and seeing nothing on this server, playing for 6 months, and then swapping to another server, logging in there, and trying to go to an inn just to realize that it doesn't even exist. And instead of a town, you have a jungle and trees and some freaking overgrown frogs. I am so excited about that. Like, you couldn't get me more interested in something like that. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. There are more than a few amazing things that absolutely excite me about the game. So I definitely wanted to put that out there and make sure people understand. There's definitely more great things than complaints when it comes to my opinion about the game. So.
Yeah. Absolutely. But looking at seeing how the game progresses and such, that actually ties in with 2 interesting forum posts that we found throughout the week here. Like, one of them, to share it out to everybody here, is called Defeating Gold Sellers. How will we do it? And since there's a good number of people that just came over from Jalan stream, I'm sure that the other day when this post went out, because I saw it and went through it literally an hour before I saw he was covering it on his show. But it basically talks about gold sellers and how can we defeat the whole gold selling everything that can break economies and whatnot. But I do need to say that I think the approach they took was kind of awkward, because it was very much they should totally just let us buy gold from Intrepid. Intrepid should put it in the game that we can just buy gold from them, because that will fix the economy and keep it stable. I completely
disagree. It doesn't matter if you're buying it from Peter or Paul, you're still buying it and you'll still destroy the economy. It doesn't matter where you get the gold from.
Yeah, and there's still, there's still going to be people that have more money than time, and they're going to just buy all the gold and get all the stuff and be super powerful. And there's going to be people with more time than money that are going to spend like 40, 50 hours a week on the game because they're either retired or, disabled or just sick for a couple weeks, and they have time to just drill down on it. Or for that matter, just they happen to have one of those jobs where, they can work from home and they just get their job done super quick in the early part of the week, and they got the rest of the week to chill because they don't have any work coming in. And
so
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I've got a question for you. So
I have an answer.
If you were Steven, okay, how would you approach the gold seller, obviously inevitable situation that you're going to have? How would you approach that and handle it? I'm curious.
I would approach it with technology and people. Technology and people. Actually, what's funny is I actually did respond to this one with a fairly in-depth post there. That's on page probably like 7 or 8. I think they were on page 5 or something when I found it. But
Okay, 7 or 8.
Let's see here. I'm curious. How far back did it go? Because I just kind of jumped in there.
I'll go 7, you go 8.
Okay.
And we'll scroll down until we find it.
But
George
yeah,
Black likes to
I'm
respond.
oh yeah, he does. One of these days, I'm actually curious about maybe getting him on here. I know he's kind of a rager sometimes, but I'd be curious to see what he has to say about some things on live. But I was basically saying, like, take a hard stance on it. Like, start from day one. You're banning people. Like, that's it. You ban people. You have no access to VPNs. Like, if you're using a known VPN address, sorry, you're not allowed into play at all. Use a regular IP address, or hey, we have a preferred provider that's going to protect your data, but you need to be able to present, like, I don't know, your Intrepid ID or something, so that we still know who you are connecting, but we don't see your data or anything. But if you end up being caught gold selling, then your IP that's reported to the VPN and your user account are gone. That's it.
Akin
the
to
end.
somewhat of what Faye is saying. Yeah, kind of like what Faye's saying. I really like that. Faye said that defeating gold sellers requires brutal zero tolerance, permanently banning the customers commit from the start to, I love this, economic warfare against the purchasers in order to damage the bottom line of the sellers. I think that kind of goes in a little bit to what you were saying, but I don't know. I guess well,
Zetrix, let me ask real quick before you finish your point. Zetrix, why would no VPN be a horrible idea if you're not allowed to use a third-party VPN, but Intrepid has a deal with another VPN where you don't have to pay for it? You can still totally use a VPN if you're concerned about your video game data being intercepted along the way. If you're worried about anything else outside of that, like if you're trying to hide yourself from playing the game, it's kind of weird. But I mean, if you're just trying to mask your data in transit, yeah, you're now forcing someone to use a service like a video game. Like, why you're forcing someone to use a service? So if they want to use a VPN, we're going to provide one for you. It's the same thing like the anti-hack systems. You're forcing them to use the anti-hack systems and the anti-cheat. Like easy anti-cheat that's in so many games right now. That type of thing. But they're giving you, if you want to use a VPN because you want to keep your data in transit safe, by all means, just sign in with your Intrepid ID. Oh, well, no. See, so look at it this way. Let's say you have a NordVPN, and they just have something where you need to sign in with your Intrepid ID, and then you can access the game or whatnot. Like, what is it, like $5 a month or something? Maybe they get a deal with Nord. Who knows? But, well, okay, well then either that or just don't have a VPN when you're playing the game. Because to be honest, I mean, I'm all about cybersecurity. Schooled in it for a while, but I don't see a big issue with that myself.
Yeah.
You don't trust the... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Yeah, no, that's true. I agree. I agree with that. I was
gonna say I don't trust a game studio to protect data either. Like they're designing a game, not VPN to be fast and efficient and actually secure. Yeah. Like that's why they outsource and they use like easy anti-cheat and stuff like that. But oh, okay. Gotcha, Zetrix. No worries. But definitely thanks for the feedback, though. I mean, I don't personally think it's a horrible idea, but hey, down the road, feel free to jump on our Discord and share that over because I'm curious. Maybe there's something I didn't think about. But that's kind of like the core idea of if you just ban people, don't allow them to use VPN so they can be like, well, you know what? I'm just going to create a new account. I'm going to go through a VPN. They've IP banned me, but it's not my IP, so ha 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 ha. Like, I'm going to go and, I'm going to be in X country that isn't even serviced by the game, use a VPN to get over, just specifically to gold sell. Like, that's kind of a silly thing. But, I mean, outside of that, yeah, also solve it with people. They're going to have active GMs in there. Manual reviews of accounts. Yeah.
thing with gold selling, it's kind of with a lot of things. The unfortunate truth is, unless you are going to go the route of some MMOs that completely do not allow the trading of items and currencies whatsoever, and you're going to hamstring your community with that to protect, destroy gold sellers, there's really no way to really do it 100%. It's never going to be under 100%. And that's the unfortunate truth about it. There will always be some gold sellers, okay? Because you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to do? Or how much of your freedom in the game, your enjoyment of the game, are you willing to kind of put a blanket on in order to prevent gold sellers? So that's kind of with me. I would say exactly what Faye said before, was commit in the very beginning to have a zero tolerance policy. Anyone who purchases or sells currency or items on the open real market in real life, banned, their IP banned permanently from the game. And that's just the way it is. That's my opinion. I would probably also grow the team that handles something like that. That's kind of probably the way I would handle it personally, but never approach it in a way where we are going to do everything that we can to have zero gold selling on the server, because there's really no way to do that. You can do the best you can, but you can't do 100%. I think if the community can at least get behind that, then the community as a whole can have an honest conversation of what we can do, because there's no way to get it down to zero unless they hand you a product that's going to be less enjoyable, so.
True story. I totally agree with that. But also, yeah, there's other stuff. I know that someone had mentioned like campuses and whatnot sharing IPs, barracks as well sharing IPs. Phelan was saying you can change your IP with a short command in your command shell. All of that is true, but it's also not the entire story. Like, that's the IP address of your computer, but then there's your router and all that stuff, and there's different ports on the router that you're accessing through. And all of that is contained. There's like packets within packets within packets that get your address, because there's not enough IP addresses out there for every household in the world, let alone all the computers and everything in there. So there's definitely different layers to it, and you can dig in there, and you can dial in to a little bit more accuracy. But it is a valid point with the campuses and whatnot sharing internet service providers, ISPs, that give one externally visible IP address. But again, every device and everything in there is going to have its own enveloped data within that. And you can change it on your one individual computer, but there's also going to be not so many people that are going to be trying to do that type of thing that are living in college. Maybe they're buying it, but the seller, at least, you get rid of the seller, take the gold back from the buyer, and tell the buyer, don't be a dick, dude. Chill. We're watching you now. Because part of the other part that I was going to say is you can flag the account to have it continually monitored for gold intake. If somebody just randomly gains or loses more than, say, 150% of the server's average or whatever in a week, do a manual review real quick. But that's only after they've done something, had an interaction with a gold seller. Which was, I think Karthos said, no, it was Coat, said to ban the account because the time investment to become an efficient gold farmer will stop the majority. That's fairly true if you do some backtracing to find exactly who farmed it all. But sometimes there's just people that just have a ton of gold sitting around, and they'll sell it for $10, and somebody else will buy it for 20. And the actual gold seller, who may acquire everything with 1,000 gold here or there at a time, and then they sell it as 1,000,000 gold because they bought a bunch of thousands. and that person only needs a level 1. So another system I saw a game had is you couldn't actually even trade until you're like level 10. So you did have to put some time in the game. Granted, it's minuscule, but it's like,
was that a free-to-play game by chance?
I forget, to be honest. I just remember it might even be Final Fantasy or something. It was some game, and I forget what it was. Daggone it, I can't think of it.
Yeah, it could have been like the free trial. 10. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the free trials are always like, the free trials in every game that I've played are always like that. But there was one where you actually had a level limit. You had to hit a certain level before you could trade as well.
Oh yes. You're totally right. I remember that. I can't remember what that was in. I think that was Final Fantasy 14 free trial. Yeah, I think that was Final Fantasy 14 free trial because they did that, I believe, to prevent like real money traders from going into the game and creating lots of different accounts and going into the world and starting to trade money and things like that right away. So yeah, that's that was Final Fantasy 14, I believe.
Yeah. See, that stuff, and like Karthos is saying, like flagging accounts that get large transactions. I mean, it might eat up a whole lot of data for storing a lot of this stuff, but I mean, looking at stuff like that, looking at stuff like if somebody gains or loses a chunk of like 150% of the server average in over a week or something like that, there's something crazy going on and would merit 30 minutes of somebody to look through it and just say, okay, what's been happening. And it's funny.
Also, go ahead. Sorry. There's a delay, so it's sometimes
no worries.
Timing. I apologize.
Oh, no worries. Like the last thing I was going to say on that was like there could also be keyloggers that will follow certain keywords and have a little bit of intelligence to it to analyze a little context around it.
Yeah, I do like what Karthos said because I agree with that. But again, putting yourself in Steven's shoes, whatever flagged number you choose, the real flagged number needs to be a couple thousand lower than that, because what people would end up doing is just sending like 100 less than that or something to stay right underneath that so they can trade so they can trade as much as they can. That's how I would do it if I was person in charge. Always be changing that number as well too, so that they can never guess exactly how much they can spend, because this week might be different from last week. So
yeah
I don't know. Like you said, follow the money.
True. And Phelan, yeah, you can always definitely do all that stuff. There's other things you can also do though. On top of having an account penalty, you can actually trace an IP all the way back to a specific customer of an ISP. Now, they could totally automate it to where when they ban an account, it will trace the IP that was registered with that account the last time it logged in, and you could automate it to send an email to the ISP saying, hey, on this date at this time, there was somebody who was doing illegal or against term of service activities on our service. And they can totally send, like, that's how a lot of DMCA stuff gets filed through, is it's just an automated email to an ISP that then contacts the customer and says, hey, you were downloading this thing at this time of day at that day. Cease and desist, or else we're going to drop you as a customer. Yeah. The end. So if you get an account with that, there you go. Easy peasy. Send that out. And then when that customer gets another report of something similar, then they're going to lose an ISP. And tell me, how many ISPs do you have in your area? How many choices do you have to get broadband? I only have 2. And at this address, like 1. So, I mean, there's always that.
Yeah. It's a really hard thing to solve.
Yeah. True story, yeah. And like Faye said, it's also third-party interactions being a pain in the ass, but when examining all solutions and sending out a little bit everywhere, it's all gonna add another dent in the bucket of poopy people. But I think you had it right when you said that you're never gonna eliminate it 100%. It's just never gonna happen. No. It's a basic tenet of security, safety, and all that.
It's a rarity for anything to be 100%. So it's a lot easier to fix any situation, and honestly anything, but specific, we're talking about gaming here. If you at least agree on that, then we can actually have a conversation of how to make it better, right? That's what I think. Yeah.
True story. But yeah, I mean, those are good points, Zetrex. That's fair enough. And
run the economy on high fives.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, Karthos, run the economy on high fives. I love it. But just so we don't beat this horse into the ground, because there's so much more we could go into with this too. But yeah, just use some technology, stuff that'll automate stuff as much as possible, manual review before taking action, and have people that actually can manually review, which they've said they're already going to do.
Bring down the ban hammer. And bring down the ban hammer.
Don't go easy on people, and don't start selling gold from the studio, because why not? We've lost the war. That's just silly. Yeah, then someone else brought up another one that kind of ties into your exploration thing, is making achievements great again, which was basically a conversation. They brought up the idea of achievements getting you some kind of in-game benefit.
I love achievements.
Yeah, so if you were to do say a certain number of jump puzzles, you would you get like a dexterity bonus or like a movement speed buff or something, like a permanent like 1% increase.
How much gold you've purchased from how much gold you purchased from Intrepid?
Yeah, there you go. Put that in there. There's your achievement.
I love busy work. So I'm a huge fan of achievements. The more busy work that you can have in the game, whether it be achievements, collections, is a huge thing that I love. I love the idea of going around in the world in games and finding, certain items here and there. We just see something shiny glowing in the corner, and you walk over and you examine it, and it tells you a story about the past, about that area and what happened there hundreds or thousands of years ago. Like what took place, what kind of a civilization it was. And then you can have, I made a video about this, almost a year ago. And you could have like a lore master somewhere in town that you could bring these things to once you get a certain amount of them, or you get all the, you get all the collections in an area. And then you get some sort of reward from like a lore master somewhere. Based on what kind of node it is, it could have a different type of lore master to keep things fresh. And so that you always have things like that. But I love achievements too. Achievements are great, so much fun. And it adds challenge, lots of replayability. You need to have that in an MMO. You need to have that in a great MMO. You have to have a nice, robust achievement system. Completely agree with that.
Yeah, big achievement system, and honestly, like, everyone's gonna love being able to show off to a friend, like, look what I got, look what I did, look where I went, look what insert anything they did. And it's a thing, it's a little point of pride, Yeah. But the big question here that they had, though, is how about giving them things like stat boosts and whatnot when you complete them?
Permanent?
Yeah, permanent boosts by completing them.
I like that. And it's kind of one of those, I really like that, because in anything that makes it meaningful, I'm on board. And it's not one of those things where you would have to worry about necessarily about, oh, well, if you do all the achievements, it's going to make your character OP, or it's going to take away from gear, because you're going to need to know to properly gear yourself. You have to go and get these achievements. And, honestly, don't see anything wrong with that, but I also don't see how it would make a character OP, because they could just work it into the system. Obviously, that's what they would do. I really like the idea of that, of you actually getting something meaningful rather than, a new handkerchief for your, your bedstand or something like that in your home, in your house. I'd like something cool. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. See, I like. I'm kind of. Well, in my response to this on the forums, I wrote, this is a tough one for me, and it's because I fall right in the middle where Phelan and Karthos just said.
Yeah,
You know, I
that's
like
true.
getting
I
titles.
just read that. That's true.
Love getting titles for certain achievements. Love getting mounts for certain achievements. Love getting pets for certain achievements. But if you end up putting stats, it could become where that's the new. Now I have to go do this. As part of my character progression, I have to go do this stuff, or else I'm not going to be able to do this other thing.
True. I mean,
and also on the selfish side of things, if you get bonuses for achievements, it's going to draw everybody to do achievements, and then I don't feel as accomplished by getting it, except for it was another thing on the chore list that I had to go do because it had stats. Whereas if I get an achievement or an exploration point that nobody else got because there's nothing to gain from it, I feel better.
I mean, yeah, I understand. I understand the point that it would force people to be an achievement hunter, but I mean, yes and no, because who's to say that they won't have other systems that are not so appealing to the achievement hunter, but more appealing to the Phelan? You know what I mean? Where maybe you're not interested in being an achievement hunter, but you're interested in doing this, and it will progress your character in a different way than that would. I've always thought that there should be lots of things in a game, especially in an MMORPG, that show people that are willing to put the time into this are rewarded, you know, heavily. You know, I really like that's kind of like the whole flying mount thing. There's things I don't like about it, but the one thing that I do like about it is when you see somebody with a flying mount, if there's somebody who's like into animal husbandry and things like that, you know that they really, really like, they actually accomplished something great. The feeling of accomplishment, I think, has really been lost, you know, over the last couple decades in MMOs. They've really kind of stolen that from the player. And that's an experience that I think that this game is trying to give you again. And so an idea like you said about, you know, having it be a permanent little something, a little nugget, I think is would be just so cool. It's out of the box thinking. I'm a big fan of out of the box ideas, because they're just not so cookie cutter and basic.
Yeah, I think it'd be neat if they got something around there. Like, I do know I'm perfectly content with, you know, titles and mounts and characters and stuff, but it could probably add enough to it if you could get like minuscule progression points for something if you did thematic achievements. But it would have to be I think it would have to be really minuscule, like enough to where you could say that if you're one of those like super progressive, like top 10 guilds or whatever, then sure, you need everybody to do this stuff. But everyone else, it's more for the achievement, and then also you get a tiny benefit. But yeah, like even currencies, like I actually with Ashes, with it being a huge cosmetic shop, give currency coins, little embers from getting some achievements. That way you could go out achievement hunting and not have to pay for the next month's cosmetics because you earned them by achievement hunting.
I like currencies. Yeah, I do like achievement hunting. Obviously, I already said that, but I do like the idea of currencies. They're fun, you know. I also like treasure hunting. Have you ever thought about treasure hunting? Has it been something that they've discussed? Like I said, I'm not 100% up to date, but the idea of treasure hunting, I think, is a really cool thing.
I know
that something.
I don't think they said specifically treasure hunting, but I do know it was mentioned in a Q&A at one point about certain skills or items or whatever you could only get by exploration and going to places that most people won't think of going. And I recall the answer being in the positive direction of, yeah, there's going to be stuff that you have to explore to find. So that excites me. Like, at some point there's going to be one person who has it, not because they're the one richest person, but because they're the one person who went out and found it.
Yeah.
Achievement points should allow you to buy membership into an Explorers Guild where you can get special cosmetics, titles, and have special buildings you can use. I like that. little like underground tunnels through the cities that you can only access by being in the Explorers Club. Treasure hunting? Meh. Treasure finding? Yes. Perfect. All right then. So, how are you about intrigue and such like that? Political intrigue.
Give me an example.
Like say, let's say you're in a guild and you've got this crazy, like really like neck and neck race with just a competing guild on anything, be it a castle you're both trying to own or a raid you're both trying to get down, and you have the same raid knights or something like that. And you need to politically work through conflict in some way, be it actually negotiating, talking, using in-game tools to make things nice between you, or on the other side, being able to somehow play on their
weaknesses,
the aspect that you can be in multiple guilds on one server. And you could say make a little spy character and go jump in and such like that.
I've played games that have done stuff like where people have done things like that. I'm not one of those people that is a fan of espionage and things like that in the games that I play with other people. However, I do acknowledge that that is a very exciting and interesting part of a game like this for a lot of people, even though it's not mine. I would be very happy with, or am actually excited about learning more about their political systems because they've talked about it. And they've kind of hinted at like little things. I don't know yet if they've really fleshed it out and really gone in there and said like, we're going to do this and this, and this is how this is going to work, and that's going to work, and you'll be able to do this, and it'll cause a chain reaction like a butterfly effect and do this. I don't necessarily know if they've really gone to that extent yet. Maybe they have, but I really like the idea of doing that because it's actually a system in a game rather than us, the community, having to create our own like our own political conquests, you know what I mean, within whatever server we play. I like that it's going to be like worked into the game. I'm really excited about it. I'm definitely excited to learn more.
Yeah, like because I know they just put out a guild versus guild politics as their guild gathering, and it's kind of asking what different tools or whatnot you had to navigate the politics of guild to guild conflict. And so far there's a lot of stuff that I personally don't have a whole lot of interest in, just because typically I'm more of I do stuff for the guild and I don't really get involved in the inter-guild politics myself. But hey, thank you, sir. Look at that. Welcome to the sub club, Karthos, and thank you, Hero, for tossing that out. Much appreciated. But they named some stuff that was kind of neat and kind of I guess noticeable by the everyday player. Some people were saying things like having an in-game kill on sight list, a neutral list, war list, and allies list separate from the overall 3 guild alliances.
Yeah.
So you could just say like, this person has been really pissing us off. And if you have like 5 people on the kill on sight list from a certain guild and their guild leaders aren't doing anything, then they can graduate over to the war list.
It's funny that you said that. I am in a role Ashes of Creation role-playing Discord, and there's actually a lot of people that are they're actually putting together a role play where they are going to be basically, like, you can call them whatever you will, like, not necessarily Knights Templar, but you call them whatever you will, but they will be people that will go around and patrol the countryside and protect people who are getting ganked. And that's actually going to be their role play. So I do kind of like that. And that kind of goes in with what you're talking about. I think that the community will step up and create some of those things, but like kind of, don't necessarily think, even though I think something like that is really cool, but I don't necessarily think that that's going to fill like or protect you from like what I was talking about earlier. But I do like the idea that people are thinking outside of the box like that, political. It was a bit politically intrigue. I do like that.
Yeah, like if that guild, or say like a bounty hunting guild that was focused on that, if they had tools to actually put notes about every single guild name that they bump into, like they see somebody in a guild, right click the character, hit, make notes on guild and add it to your guild's list of things that they know, and just start writing down names of people from the guild that constantly show up as corrupted all the time, where they hang out, where they're typically seen, that type of thing.
Yeah.
That would actually be pretty neat, I think. Because in Bounty Hunters, that could just be like a shopping list right there. Hey, this guild or these certain people are always, out and about in this area doing this thing, and they're almost always corrupted every time we see them. That's where they're going. So they just create their little laundry list of where to go and start doing the rounds. Looking for purple names to mow down.
Yeah.
I dig it.
It's going to be interesting to see.
All right. Well, did you have any other super nifty and interesting things that you remember before that you were curious about how it's progressed at this point?
I mean, not necessarily. I'm kind of really, really waiting to see. So I want to see a lot more information on classes and races and see them a little bit more fleshed out. I'm definitely excited for, something like that. So. Yeah,
I'm still waiting on the reveal for Vec, just at all. Just show me some Vec. Show me some official Vec. That's all I want.
Yeah. You got your race, huh?
Yes. I don't even need to see him. I know I'm going to play. That's going to be my first one. Vec Tank. The end.
I have no idea what I am going to take. I really want to read about them. I want to read the lore. I want to look at the character creation, the versatility with how you can make them look. I'm really, really hoping that they get the character creator right. I hope that they really just allow you to make something amazing. People who have, I want them to give you a character creation system where people that are really imaginative can create something absolutely amazing, and the people not so much just hit the button that says random, and they can just keep on cycling through until they get, an amazing or halfway decent looking character. I hope that they really, I really hope that they give you a really good character creator, because this is your character that you're really gonna get. At least I just feel that you're really gonna get deep into the game, and I think something like that is going to be attractive for a lot of people. So I hope they really definitely give you that. But there's a lot of things that I'm really that I'm really looking forward to and that I'm interested in. But literally, I could talk for hours about any one of them. So,
but any and all of
for
them.
Another time. Yeah. True story. There is a whole lot. Now, this thing you had asked about this during setup here. The Vera in Minecraft. Yes.
I know a certain someone who would absolutely love this, but she is not here today. It does not look like. Miss Z would probably... Yeah. She's probably already seen this, though. Somebody recreated the Vera map in Minecraft.
So cool.
For one,
man.
that's insane. And for two, they actually apparently put the map out for anybody else to use if they want to download it and just play around on it. I'm really curious if Intrepid's seen this and if maybe, well, I mean, maybe they'd have reasons to not, but since it's already out there in the ether, if they would, when they do their Minecraft thing, if maybe they're using that world or they should have used that world.
It's like how
during
do
their
you
mind.
put... This is like how can you possibly, you know, create that? There's just it just baffles me, the things that people can create. That is just amazing. You know, it just looks so cool.
Yeah, it's bananas. And for those who aren't able to click links and such here right now, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this pulled up on the screen, because this is newts, I tell ya. There we are. Yeah, look at that. They actually created a giant thing. It's apparently like 400 times the size of the Vera map, which I don't know how they would have so much time on their hands to create that. That's bananas. But yeah,
I don't
little AOC map over here.
People are so talented.
And then there's that. But yeah, at first I thought, I was looking at it and saying, or thinking to myself that Vera in Minecraft, okay, so somebody had a Minecraft map and they found part of Vera in there. Okay, that's neat. No, it's just, they spent a week crafting that. Well, it had to be more than a week. I mean, they don't say how long it took them, but... Like, see? All those little tiny green things are like a single block that they stacked up.
It's insane. It's absolutely
I don't even know. I have no concept of how long that would take someone.
Yeah.
Oh, is it pretty OP? You just kind of shape some things and let it go? Because I've never ever actually built a world on there. But then there's also this little thing for those who have kept up with it before. Starting in about January, Lashing on the forums started putting out information about a fan-made Ashes of Creation card game. And they've put out, for one, a Google Doc so you can go and grab all the info yourself to play around if you wanted to. They do take input. I mean, I've seen them talking about and hearing some input, even right there. Like, feel free to DM on Discord. But they created a whole bunch of different stuff. Different card albums, contingencies, rights, freeholds, production units, equipment and augments, resources. And the newest update, which I thought was neat, is that they actually made something on Tabletop Simulator. So you can just log on there and it's all available for you to just play around with. Which...
So cool. So cool.
Which means you don't even have to print anything out. Creativity and skills of people. I got none of them. I can just point at them and say, look what they did. And I know you said you didn't catch the live stream today, right? Because I think were you streaming during that?
No, I did not get to... Yes, I was streaming during that. Did not get a chance to catch it.
But well, you didn't miss a whole lot. To be honest, there's pretty much all the questions that were asked were either we already talked about it, like the ZOI and freeholds being non-PvP areas, and everything else is just kind of variants of stuff that's either been asked or said before. So nothing terribly interesting today. They do say that they're working hard on some stuff though, so we'll see what happens there. Toast is trolling us with these questions. Yeah, Carthos. Sometimes I agree. Sometimes I agree. Then again, I mean, I just think there's... Of the things that are released and talk aboutable, I think all the questions have been asked at this point. Like, every question that gets declined or said they can't really talk about it are the ones that people really want to know, and they would spawn so many more questions after those are answered.
Yeah.
You know, time will tell. Time will tell. Well, sir, I do believe, did you have anything else to chat about? Did you have any other topics you wanted to cover?
No, I think we covered some. I think we covered some really, really good topics. Some really good information was given there. Opinions, definitely. So I just look forward to people's to hearing people's opinions and thoughts on YouTube comments. Be kind of interested to hear what people think.
Fair enough, fair enough. Carthos says, I think they need to stop doing these videos that are just mount showcases, do an expanded Q&A. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, do a little bit excessive Q&A, and every once in a while just drop something random that nobody asked about.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, bring in a content creator. Okay, yeah, I could be okay with that, because they usually end up bumping into people that have a lot of questions. And, you know, able to field a couple extras. That'd be dandy.
Yeah.
Well, sir, did you have anything else you wanted to share as far as links to any projects, any whatnots outside of the YouTube and Twitch I'm about to drop for you?
No, it's just, no, I mean, you can just find me. I go live almost every day on Twitch, and I don't do as many videos on YouTube as I would like, because I'm more than likely streaming. So, but I do have that YouTube, and I do post content on there every so often, but mostly I'm on YouTube. I'm sorry, Twitch.
Alrighty. Well,
and thank you for joining. I appreciate it.
I would say us.
It was a good time.
No, it's still us, because she was over in the chat. So yeah, thank you for joining us.
Anytime.
Appreciate the conversation. I had fun. I enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody out there in the viewership. Thank you for stopping by, spending your time with us. It is your most valuable commodity. You spent it here instead of napping in bed like Chibi.
Thanks, guys. I enjoyed the conversation.
Now, let's see. Here's for the fun part. Let's see if we can find somebody to raid. And... Who should we do? Oh, Smorg. What's he doing? Oh, he's playing Gwent. Walks into Gwent. The Witcher card game. Did you play that much at all?
No.
It was fun. It was one of my fun favorite things to do to kill time in the game. Let's go raid him. See if he can teach us some stuff about cards. What's the text chat for the text command for raiding? GB normally does that one.
/raid and then the person's
/raid?
name. /raid space and the person's name, exactly as it's presented.
Right. Oh yeah, getting suited up. Yeah, one of these days we got to go and get ourselves more emotes so we can actually have an actual... You don't have the permissions? Womp womp. Yeah, so we can actually have some raid emotes to dive in with. Alright. Well then, thank you again for joining us. Thank you everybody for stopping by. We're going to go raid him now. We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys.